You are in the right place if you have dialed in to learn a little more about how to maximize your time and resources as busy people trying to find a job. A couple of housekeeping things before we get into it. I encourage you all to take note of all the people in this session and connect with them. It's a automatic, easy way to add people to your network here within the Wake Forest community. And I also invite you all to interact. I've embedded a couple of pauses in my presentation just to give myself a minute to catch up with the chat, but also to allow you to interact with the content and be a participant in this learning experience. I am recording this session. My colleague Carrie Ross is going to follow up either today or tomorrow. She's pretty on top of things with a copy of this PowerPoint, as well as a copy of some supporting documents that I'll mention with as we go through the presentation. So without further ado, I do ask everyone to stay on mute. Yeah, here we go. All right, so my name is Sharon Vogler, and I get the absolute privilege of serving as director of MBA and alumni career development here in the School of Business. I've been with Wake Forest and with the School of Business for over 13 years. I'm in the middle of my 14th academic year. I've always been a career coach here in the business school, but I've served mostly in our pre-experience master's programs. Those are those real quick master's programs in accounting, analytics, and management. Just recently, in the last couple of years, I started to serve our MBA students, and then thankful to the School of Business for really committing an entire resource to career development for all of our alumni across all schools. So no matter if you graduated from undergrad or one of our MBA programs and any and everything in between, if you have any questions about a job search, career resources, career development, I am your person. And I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. Today, we're going to focus on ways to maximize your time and energy to move your job search forward in a very intentional way. I get asked this question a lot, and I have lots of advice to give on this subject. So we're going to talk about why the market's so competitive today and why it's so hard to pivot if you're looking to make a pretty significant career pivot. Why is this so difficult? And then a lot of our time is really going to be spent on working smarter, not harder using technology. I'll spend just a little bit of time talking about networking and the hidden job market, and then we'll wrap up with next steps. It is my intention to get you all out of here by 12:45. I absolutely consider this a personal goal of mine, and I'm going to be looking at my clock a lot to keep myself on task. How's that sound? Great. Let's get into it. Um, and so career resources here in the School of Business are abundant, and they're all free, believe it or not. And so for all students and alumni, any kind of career services, whether it be resume reviews or help me decide what I want to be when I grow up, they're all free. For our alumni, like I said, you come to me, and this is the link to get a career coaching appointment one-on-one with me, as well as access to any online or just-in-time resources that you may need. If you are a student and you are here with us today, if you are in one of our MBA programs that are run out of our Charlotte Center, Mark Noonan is your career coach. If you are in one of our the Winston-Salem MBA program or our online MBA program, your resource is Roderick Lewis. If is anyone here not in one of those programs or an alumni of the School of Business?
Hey Sharon, this is Chris Talley. I'm an alumni of the School of Business. Um,
Awesome. I'm your person.
all right,
I,
great.
I am as well.
Awesome, Michael. I know you well. And so yeah, so all of that, all of those resources come through my desk. And this is how you get in touch with me. You all should have access to my email address as well. It's sitting on our website. But when Carrie follows up with the recap of this session, I will make sure that's included, as well as Mark and Roderick's email addresses. All right, so we're going to talk about time management, making a career pivot, storytelling, and why that's so important in this process, leveraging tools and resources that you have access to, and networking. There may be other things that might be on your mind as well. And so let's light up the chat. It helps me, right, catch my breath, and it also helps me understand really where people are struggling the most. And so, which one of these areas is the toughest for you right now? And so, let's see what everybody has to say. Which area is toughest for you right now? Trying to find time, trying to understand how you can articulate who you are in the job market, leveraging AI tools, networking, storytelling and networking, getting past the initial, I get it, the submission, resumes to open positions, great, storytelling, networking, awesome. Is anything else on your mind? Anything else that's causing you some heartburn as you try to think about what's next? Narrowing, Jeanette, that's a good one. Narrowing your focus. We're going to talk about that. Perception of the pivot. I'm going to use that, Jordan, if that's okay. Perception of the pivot. Great. Well, so another thing I hope that you all realize is that you're not alone and that these resources are abundant. You just have to know who to reach out to and how to utilize these tools, which we'll spend some time on today. And so let's talk about, oops, time management, time and energy management. So, the one thing we all have in common, the constant equity commodity is time. We all have the exact same amount of time in a day. What's different you may see over here, right, with some of my visuals is this calendar, right? So full. You may have lots of people like this young lady here, lots of people um, gravitating and asking for your time and your attention and your energy. This is actually my to-do list of things I have to do this week. I only added some class things just to be relevant to some of our audience here. I don't currently have any academic requirements, but I cannot imagine layering that on top of all of the things that I have to accomplish this week. And so I challenge you all to think about how you use that time. Like I said, it is a commodity, and it's something that we all value so desperately. And so I would define your high energy hours. Like, when are you at your best? I am at my best between 10 and 2. Right. And so I would probably not bring as much energy to this um, session if we were doing it at 7 o'clock at night, even if we were doing it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I could find it, but it would be hard. And so some of you may be night owls, some of you might really be super productive in the early morning hours. But I invite you all to reflect on that and think about when you, right, are at your best and when you have the highest amount of energy. And as you plan out your days and your commitments and the things that you are responsible for, your deliverables, think about how you use that time really wisely. I always follow the 3 MIT rule. What are the MIT stands for the most important task. So as you think about your priorities and your deliverables, again, you've got to think about, what do I have to accomplish today? What is the must do's of today? And I always pick the hardest stuff first. If I can get the hardest things done first, then I can cruise through the rest of my to-do list with relative ease. Now, it's also I think important to think about, right, as you are looking at this massive to-do list, is that the energy that we waste just thinking about doing something is far more intense than actually doing the thing. And let me give you an example. I have needed to switch out my closet from my spring and summer clothes to my fall and winter clothes. It's something I've had on my to-do list for weeks. And I have labored and labored and labored over this task because I knew it was going to take a long time. I thought it's going to take all day. I have to sequester this time when I have no other, right, really important things that I have to accomplish. It took me 2 hours. I thought it was going to take like 8 hours, but just the labor of thinking about doing it, really, it took a hit on my energy level just thinking about the task than actually doing it. When I actually started doing it, it was actually kind of fun because I like to get organized, and I love a good purging project. And so I would think about that as you are making these to-do lists and trying to get things done. Another thing I always advise any of my clients to do, or any of the students that I'm working with, is to block your calendar. Block time on your calendar to get some of these tasks done that aren't a natural part of your day. And so we're going to talk about, how many jobs you need to apply for every day and how many people you need to network with. And so I think it's a good idea. And again, everybody has a different way of working. Is to go to your calendar, whatever calendar system you use, and block a meeting for yourself. Okay. And it can be during your lunch break. It can be before your day starts. It could even be in the middle of your day. Not sure exactly like what kind of work flexibility you have, but here at Wake Forest, they don't care when we come in and they don't care when we leave. They don't care when we go to lunch and they don't care how long we go to lunch. The only thing they care about here is that we have a high touch concierge customer service mentality, and that the people that we serve are delighted in the offerings and resources that we have. And there's ways that they can make sure there's some checks and balances there. But if I really needed to get something personally done, I would not feel bad at all about going to my calendar and blocking off from 10 to 11 every day. I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to protect it. I'm not going to let anybody have it. If my boss comes to me or a colleague that says, I see you have a hold on your calendar for 10 o'clock every day for the next 2 weeks, but I really need to schedule this meeting. Can I have that hour? I mean, unless it was the dean or the president or the provost, then I probably would say, no, I'm busy. Okay. So it's up to you to set those boundaries and to protect that time for yourself to get these things done. I love a to-do list. I love checklists. I like visual representations, right, of what I'm responsible and what I need to do. I'll even write things on a checklist and a to-do list after I've done them, just so I can check them off and strike it through as done. Okay. And so if you have a visual cue of some of the responsibilities that you have, you're more likely to get them done. And again, it's very therapeutic, it's very cathartic for me to write things down and check them off. You'll get them done a lot more efficiently. I always also encourage everyone to realize that a job search in today's market, really in any market, but it's especially hard today. And we're going to talk about why in just a minute, but it's especially hard. Um, and so it's a marathon. And this is not a sprint, and it's not a relay. And it's you've really got to think of this as a marathon. And so as you're training, if anybody's ever trained for a marathon or even a like a 5K or a 10K, you know you're not going to get up the first day and you're gonna run 26 point whatever miles. It's got to be slow. Your training's got to be paced. You have to conserve your energy in the right way, or you're going to fail. And I've always encouraged everyone to celebrate quick wins. Before I worked here at Wake Forest, I was in sales. I was in outside sales. It was my responsibility to sell staffing services to all the wonderful companies here in Forsyth County and Winston-Salem. And I had cold calls to make. I had follow-up telephone calls to make. I had follow-up emails that I had to do every day, every day. And when I would get them done, I would celebrate every afternoon that I got them done. And some days I didn't get them all done with an ice cold Diet Coke in a can. It is the biggest treat for me to treat myself to a Diet Coke. And so I really looked forward to that Diet Coke every day. So celebrate these quick wins and these small goal achievements any and everywhere you can. And it could be just, I got up today and I turned on my computer and I connected with one person on LinkedIn. Like that's a win. Okay. And then you've got to ask for help. Okay. Asking for help from Wake Forest, from people like me and Roderick and Mark are super important. We are here to help you. We are here to even help you unpack things, help you just kind of go through different resources or be creative in your approach. But then I also would challenge everyone, especially you students here who are trying to balance a full-time job, going to school at night, on weekends, or online. And if you have a family, if you have I call it the sandwich generation where you have kids and parents that you have to take care of. You know, what can you outsource? This is a season of life, right? It's not forever. So, what can you outsource? Can you outsource ironing by taking things to the dry cleaners? Can you outsource cleaning your house? Can you outsource meal prep? There's some really fantastic meal prep resources out there that you really healthy and clean ingredients that help you stay really efficient. Can you outsource some childcare things? Like, could you ask a neighbor to take a child to a practice? Or could you ask some of your inner circle of friends to help organize a play date so you can have a couple of hours free on the weekends? Like, what can you outsource? And then having an accountability partner, I think, is really important. Of course, here at Wake Forest, we can serve as those accountability partners. I mean, for me, if you ask me to be your accountability partner, you have to be really careful what you ask for because I will be on top of you, like you wouldn't even believe. But often also compare a job search like we talked about training before, even like the gym. If I know that somebody is waiting for me at the gym, we have a gym date, we're going to work out together, I am more likely to go. Okay. If I know that I've even asked my boss to do this for me. I hate doing expense reports. I hate it. And so I will go to her and I'll say, Stacy, I need you to keep me accountable and I need you to stay on me until I get this done this week. And again, it's a great example of be careful what you ask for. Because she was on me and I got it done because I knew I was going to show up here the next day and she was going to ask me. And I wanted to be able to say, yes, I got that done. Okay. So find accountability partners. Can they be your domestic partner? Yes. Can they be a teammate that you work with? Yes. Can it be a career coach like me? Yes. So I would be creative in who you ask, and hopefully they'll keep you accountable. But those are some of the things that just work for me. These things may work for you, but I would think about like how you're prioritizing your time. So some do's and don'ts. Do block off time and protect it. Protect it. Follow the MIT rule. What's the most important task? Get those done first, and then go to the hardest task after that. Use checklist and to-dos. Celebrate micro goals, like little, small, tiny goals, and celebrate them however with whatever resource that would get you excited to accomplish that goal. Ask for help, outsource what you can, and do not forget to take care of yourself. Self-care is not selfish. We have to plan for this and we have to check the guilt at the door. Even if it's a 15 or 20-minute walk around the block just to clear your head, you need to keep yourself charged up. So some don'ts. Some of the things that I see people doing are really habilitating their search. Things like firing off a bunch of applications, sloppy, right? When you're not your best, maybe after a very, very, very long day, when you're mad, burned out, or tired. That's not going to serve anyone. You will not get the kind of results that you're looking for if you approach it this way. Um, I personally don't encourage people to spray and pray. Now, what does that mean, Sharon? What does spray and pray mean? It's kind of like the shotgun approach, right? I'm going to throw a lot of darts out there and see what sticks. Okay. And again, this is not the best use of your time and resources. So we want to be a little bit more strategic and we want to be a little bit more focused in how we use our time and our energy, and spray and pray is typically not a great strategy. Now, it also depends on what your desperation level is. If you have no job and no severance and you don't have any unemployment benefits, you might be doing things a little bit differently. But if you have the time and you have the resources, we don't encourage you to spray and pray. Another thing we don't want you to do is underutilize your resources. So I applaud you all. You should pat yourself on the back just for showing up here today. I have seen many of you in sessions already with me, and I encourage you to continue to use those resources until you get yourself in a place that you feel like you can thrive. We also don't want you to consider AI cheating, and we're going to talk about AI in just a second, and about how you can use it so that it's very authentic. We also don't want you to think that you're all alone, and don't forget that this too shall pass. So let's go back to the chat. Let me catch my breath, and let's see how everyone recharges. Like, what's one thing that you do that you can share with the group that helps you recharge? I'll go first. I love fresh air. I love being out in nature. I love moving my body. And so, any opportunity that I have to walk, and get out into nature, it really recharges me. I think just the oxygen alone helps my blood flow. I also get B12 shots and they help. I'm getting one tomorrow and I'm so excited. It's amazing how much energy just a simple vitamin like B12 can help. How about you guys? Let's see them in the chat. How do you recharge? Walking the dog, weeding the flowers. Love it. Spencer loves to play golf. Hot yoga. A glass of red wine. Hallelujah. I think I see a little win there at the end of the day for you, Jeanette. Walking, I'm the same way. I love just getting outside and walking. The weighted vests also are really helping. And did you know that the weighted vest was invented by a faculty member here at Wake Forest? Fun fact. So hopefully you can walk away with some fun facts today as well. Great. Thank you guys. Wake belt. That's right. All right. Okay. Oh, we didn't even get through all this. Because I want to talk about these three N's. What are the three N's? The three N's, right? When you think about pivoting we're going to get to. But why is it so hard today than it was a year ago from today, or even 6 months ago from today? And it's a simple exercise of supply and demand. This is Sharon's opinion. I am paid here at Wake Forest. They pay me a salary to be in the market, in the weeds, understanding employers' needs and understanding how applications work, how resumes need to look. Wake Forest pours a lot of energy into the career services staff here to make sure that we know what's going on in the market. And so, from my perspective, I think that we are still trying to um, recorrect ourselves after the pandemic. So, the pandemic turned everything upside down. It turned upside down the way we work. Remote work started to become a whole lot more acceptable, especially right as we were coming out of the pandemic. And then something happened after the pandemic, right after the pandemic, that I think caused the most disruption in the job market, and that is the Great Resignation. So, after the pandemic, as companies were starting to pull employees back into the office, people just started quitting really great jobs. I mean, like really great, high paying jobs. Because, for an example, if you lived in Manhattan and you worked for an investment bank and you had a very expensive shoebox apartment in Manhattan that made it really easy for you to commute to work to do your job. And during the pandemic, you were able to move to the Jersey Shore and live in a beach shack for half the amount of money that you were paying to live in the middle of Manhattan. And then when that big fancy investment bank demanded that you come back to work, you're like, I don't want to. So I'm going to quit and I'm going to take my chances that my skills and what I have to offer the world of work are going to allow me to be more flexible and work remote. And so people just in hundreds of thousands, I don't even know what the number is. I need to do that research, but hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people just quit their job, quit these amazing jobs. Okay. And then all the banks, the consulting firms, and the technology firms. Those are the three industries that employ the most people in the world of business, right? Not counting like police officers and teachers and medical, workers. But in the world of business, it's banking, consulting, and technology. Those industries panic hired. Okay. And so back in 2022, you could get a job so easily and you could negotiate some hybrid, work modality things. And, you know, salaries were just absolutely just exaggerated to the point where it didn't really feel good to to work in career services because I was like, here's a person graduating from undergrad who has very, very little experience and they're making six figures coming out of undergrad. Like, how is this even a thing? But it was a thing. And so all these companies overhired. And so what has happened in the last 2 years now is that all of these companies are correcting that. And you see it if you're in LinkedIn, like I'm in LinkedIn, or you read the Wall Street Journal. You see that big companies, humongous companies, are laying off so many people. Just yesterday, we saw that American Airlines is the latest to lay off thousands of corporate workers. We're going to also talk about how AI is changing the way that we work. That's also it's made an impact in the way companies hire and the way that they even train their employees that are currently working. We're really into this supply and demand issue. And so you have jobs, there are good jobs. It's there, I think there's a healthy number of jobs. You just have so many people applying for those jobs and they are qualified for those jobs. So if you are looking to make a pivot and you have applied for a job that requires 6 years of digital marketing experience, and you only have 6 years of marketing experience, you're competing with people who have the exact same years of experience needed for the company. So it's making it really difficult for you to get through to actually be able to talk to someone because they're selecting people who have closer to every requirement or every qualification that the company is looking for. And as a hiring manager, many of you are hiring managers, so you know I need to hire somebody who is going to be able to work and contribute quicker than someone that I've got to train for a longer period of time. Because another thing that's changing is that people aren't staying at jobs for very long. It used to be the tenure was 6 to 8 years. Now it's 3 to 5 years. So I'm going to take a chance on someone who's actually done the exact work that I'm hoping to hire for rather than someone I think can do the job, but I've got to invest a lot of time and wait until they're productive. And so that might help you all understand why we're in a really tough and volatile job market. Um, if you're thinking about a pivot, you've also got to you really need to reflect a lot on the type of skills that you bring to the job and to the job market. And you need to audit those skills. So if you're looking at job description after job description, and you keep seeing AI, for an example, that you need to have some AI literacy knowledge coming into this job and you don't have any AI experience at all to talk about, then you're probably not going to be competitive for that job. So you need to fill those skill gaps. And we're going to talk about how in just a second. We're also going to talk about AI and how it's important to use to help you articulate and do the storytelling. And then we want you to be selective, not scattered. If you're applying for a lot of jobs you're not qualified for, you're going to beat your head up against the wall and you're not going to get the results you're looking for. So we're going to talk about these three N's in a pivot or in any real job search. And the first one is needs. You have to think about what you really need in a job. And these three things are the most important things that job seekers consider when making decisions on what they're going to do next. Location is a huge lever, okay? It is probably one of the biggest levers holding people back from making some pretty significant moves. People just don't want to move, period. People just do not want to move. And so if you find yourself in that category of like, I am not moving, I cannot move for whatever reasons, and they're yours, then know that every time you put only in front of your job description or your job search, it's going to take longer. Salary is another lever, okay? Salary is important, okay? None of us have a top, right? The sky's the limit. But we've all got a bottom, right? We're all like, I cannot survive the life that I have built for myself for under this amount. And again, it's all individual. Another lever, right, that really affects your needs are industry and function. You may be a financial analyst for a hospital, and you can be a financial analyst for a manufacturing company or a technology company or a bank. Okay. Or you may work in healthcare and you don't want to do the thing that you're doing anymore, but you want to stay in healthcare. Okay. And so these are things that really affect your job search. And so some other things like modality, some people only want to work remote. Or I hear this a lot more these days is that I can't work remote. It's terrible for my mental health. I need people. I need to be, in an office where I can be around humans. So they are really pushing themselves into more of a hybrid modality. Here at Wake Forest, we want people here. It is mostly in person. Okay, it's by a team to team. what that flexibility looks like. We do have remote positions here at the school, here at Wake Forest University, but you have to apply to be a remote worker, and your boss has to sign off on it. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. And then commute, right? How far are you willing to commute? Because back to that time thing, a longer commute is just going to take up more of your time. Leadership styles are also something we all consider when we're thinking about making a move. But this one's really hard to evaluate during an interview process. And so, how will you know if these team dynamics and the growth and the management style are all in line with what you want? We have to talk to a lot of people. And then again, purpose is something that we all think about. I get so excited to wake up every day because I absolutely love this work. I love helping others. I love working with really, really smart people every day. And that aligns with my core values. And so you have to think about some of these things as you think about making a move. Then you got to narrow those down. And the narrowing down of things can probably take a lot of time. And so back to that skill gap analysis, you have to think, okay, I want to do this thing, but does that require me to go back to school? Do I need a master's degree to do this thing? Can I get skills through some online platforms? If you don't know AI at all, how can you learn AI without going back to school? If you have the premium subscription in LinkedIn, you have access to the LinkedIn Learning Library, and it is full of amazing courses and classes. Some of them are short, some of them are longer, where you can learn these skills and you can put those things on your resume. I also like platforms like Udemy and Coursera. I'm not sure if any of you know this, but we at Wake Forest have a very robust certificate program, all online through our School of Professional Studies. And I encourage you to check all of those out. You also have to think, is this in my wheelhouse? Okay. If I'm going to be applying for a job that I think is real, real genuine career coaching, career advising, but the job description talks a whole lot about data analytics and being able to, you know, massage a bunch of data and communicate those through Power BI. I'm not going to be great at that, guys. That's not my wheelhouse. And so I have to think about this as I start to narrow down, right, my choices. And then what are you willing to compromise on? Salary, location, industry, work-life balance. What's negotiable and what's non-negotiable in your search? I also challenge people to think, is ego influencing your direction? Meaning, I have an MBA from Wake Forest, so I should be making this amount of money and I should be doing this level of work within an organization. And so that ego, right, can influence your direction. Or, for example, with me, I have almost 15 years of career coaching experience. I'm not going to apply for any job that's any lower than a director, right? My ego may be influencing my direction there, when really would I be happy if I was just serving as an individual contributor and showing up every day to coach students? Yes. But then am I going to make the kind of money that I'm used to? No. So again, what are you willing to compromise on? And then you'll narrow things down by finding people who can help you, asking for advice as you're out there talking to people, not a job, okay? Building rapport and doing some real networking. And then what does that mean, Sharon? Tell me how to network. I'm going to do it. If you tell me exactly what to do, I'll go and do it. I cannot provide that to you because the way I network is very different than the way other people network. But we have tools here at Wake Forest that can help you network, right? You have a built-in network with your Wake Forest credentials. Other Wake Foresters will show up for you, and you just have to get their attention and they have to have time. And so we're going to use LinkedIn to help you find people and research people, but you don't want to use LinkedIn as a messaging platform because not everybody's in LinkedIn like you are as a job seeker. So we encourage you to also use the Wake Network that gives you access to people's email addresses and their telephone numbers. And then I also encourage you to network and reach out to everyone you know. If I needed a job or if I was really unhappy in this job and I needed to make a move, I would talk to every single person I know, my neighbors, my friends, my parents, my old colleagues' friends. Um, it's really powerful, right? When you start talking to people. And I'm going to go pretty fast here because I'm running out of time. So here are some AI prompts. And again, don't feel like you can take a screenshot of this if you want, but we're going to send it to you. And using AI as a reflection tool, because you might not be able to get to me, or you might not be able to get to Mark or Roderick in a quick enough way to where you really need to make some decisions. And so I use chat, that's the one I use. And I put in my resume and I said, if I couldn't find a job in career services at a university, what or other jobs would I be a good fit for? And it spit out some really amazing things. And then the later prompts that you see here are me just pushing the system to give me more ideas and more avenues to pursue. And it was super helpful. And I think, again, this is my opinion, saved a whole lot of time and a whole lot of energy. Just in probably 3 minutes, I was able to generate some really good ideas that I hadn't thought of. And then we're going to work smarter, not harder. So using automation and AI tools in your job search is a super, super smart thing to do. I'm a chat girl. I've just used that one, and that's the one I'm the most comfortable with. But depending on what you have access to, there are some other really great AI tools out there. Grammarly is an AI tool. I don't know if you've ever used Grammarly, but I am crippled without it. But it actually does help me and makes me smarter when it comes to grammar. But it's an extension, it's free. You can download it on your laptop, and it will correct all grammar and find any typos in Word documents, on LinkedIn, and emails. It's really, really fantastic. I also like Notion Up or ClickUp. Those are two project management tools that, again, can just help you stay on task and get the most out of your time as you're trying to fit this all in. Like
Huh?
treat somebody needs to go on mute. Hold on. Um,
Notion, the
treat this as a project that you have at work. Okay, you're the project manager and you're your own boss as well. So treat this job search like it's a project at work. Another great tool that I encourage people to use is called Skill Syncer. I think I have that spelled right. We'll verify that when we follow up. But it's a platform that allows you to drop your resume and a job description onto their platform, and it compares the words for you. It gives you a Net Promoter Score, and it tells you words that you need to try and incorporate in your resume or cover letter that can help you get through some of those applicant tracking systems a little bit more efficiently. And I've done an entire workshop on those tools, so I encourage you all to check them out. I've also done a demo on how I use AI to help me refine resumes and cover letters. And so again, I'm not going to go into all of these prompts today. If you're interested and you can't find that demo, let me know and I'll send it to you. But it's just sufficient. I'm a maximizer. If you know Clifton Strengths Finder, you know what maximizer means. And I love to maximize my time, and this helps me. And so I'm almost at the end. Your network and the hidden job market. 75% of job leads come from conversations, not job boards. So you have to talk to people. Okay. The way we do work today with all of, all these platforms that help us work smarter, not harder. You don't actually have to go to a networking event to network with people. You can use all these different tools I've talked about to do so. And showing up for webinars like this is another really great way to network with others. Focus on information exchange. Okay. If you came to me and you're like, Sharon, can you get me a job at Wake Forest? I would be like, no, I can't get you a job at Wake Forest. But if you came to me and said, Sharon, I'd really like to know how you got your job at Wake Forest and what it's like to work there, I'm going to say yes. Okay. So you really want to focus on asking for advice rather than asking for a job. I also love this 222 rule, and it says to reach out to two people, two new people, follow up with two old ones, and engage with two posts on LinkedIn per week. I say per day. If you can do it per day, you're going to see a lot of activity. And then job sourcing, okay? LinkedIn is only part of the story. The LinkedIn job board is good and you need to use it, but there are a lot of other job boards out there that you need to be thinking about. I've curated a very robust list of these job boards and I will include them in the follow-up. Engage with LinkedIn the smart way. LinkedIn is in itself a social media platform. It's built off of algorithms, and I will tell you that that system, that platform will work harder for you the more you engage with it. Some things that you can do are just like, comment, and share things every day. You don't have to write posts. You don't have to, you know, have a blog, but just be on the system every day and engage with it. Join alumni groups and follow companies. And the more you do this, the more content and the more jobs, companies, and people LinkedIn will send to you. Don't be afraid to use staffing services or executive search firms. You never have to pay a fee to use these firms. The company that is actually using the search firm, they're the ones who pay. And so it's a really great way to get other people working hard on your behalf. If you've got questions about using a staff firm or other executive search firms, again, let me know. I'm happy to go into that. I came from that world, so I know a lot about it. And then use informational interviews. Talk to a lot of people. This will help you find jobs and move. It can also help move your application through the process faster the more people you know. Okay. I also get asked this every day. What do I say to people? Like, how do I reach out to them at LinkedIn? I think everyone thinks I have like uncracked the code, and I haven't. I just know what things that have worked for me. Okay. And so we've curated this again, another list for you. And these are sample messages and communication templates that can help you get people's attention a little bit more efficiently. And I'm going to include that in the follow-up. Okay. So as we wrap up, I think I went a few minutes over. Boo me. We want to focus on things that you can control. Okay. We also want to be action forward focused. This is not a time for you to be too reflective on things that have happened. And as a career coach, we have a bias to action for the future. Okay. So think about what can I do today that can help me move this process along a little bit more efficiently or a little faster. And we're going to manage our focus and our energy better. We're going to ask for help. We're going to pivot with clarity and storytelling. And we're going to use these tools and resources to do that strategically. And so I will end with this last poll. You can share it in the chat if you feel compelled. But what is one action that you're going to take this week? What's one thing that you can do? Maybe we've talked about it, maybe we haven't, but write it down, okay? Put it on a sticky note and put it on your computer or put it on your work bag. Just a visual reminder is super helpful. So if you have a sticky note close by, go grab it right now and write down the one thing, the one action you're going to take this week that's going to move your job search along a little further. Please feel free to drop off if you need to. I can stay around for a few minutes and ask and answer any questions that you might have. Any questions? Open yourself up and ask away. If no one has any questions, I will let you all hang up and get on with your day. And I encourage you all to reach out to your Wake Forest community and your Wake Forest network and ask for help. Have a great day, everyone.